The M4 Sherman tank. Was it a death trap, a rolling coffin, or was it the weapon that actually won World War II? It's a huge debate that's been raging for decades. But the answer, well, it isn't just about the numbers and the specs. The real truth is in the story of this one unassuming farm kid from Texas who completely changed the game and rewrote the entire rulebook of armored warfare.
So picture this, it's 1944, and this is literally what German tank instructors are drilling into their Panzer crews. And they believed it, 100%. They were taught that American tanks were, a nuisance, but not a real threat. Their own engineering, they thought, made them pretty much invincible from the front.
And this wasn't just arrogance. It was based on cold, hard physics. Just look at the stats here. The German Panther was a 45-ton beast with over 3 inches of heavily sloped frontal armor. The Sherman, it was way lighter, a mere 30 tons, with just 2 inches of armor. The German 88mm cannon could kill a Sherman from a mile away. Meanwhile, the Sherman's little 75mm gun, well, it pretty much just bounced right off.
And that massive difference in tech, it had a horrifying price tag on the battlefield. The reports coming out of Normandy were just grim. For every single Panther the Germans lost, the Americans were losing 5 Shermans. You can't even call that a fair fight. It was a slaughter, plain and simple.
And a weapon's got a bad reputation when you hear the nicknames. The Germans, they called it the Tommy Cocker, which means the Tommy Cooker. And even the American crews had their own dark joke for it. They called it the Ronson, like the cigarette lighter, because the slogan was, lights first time, every time. Yeah, the Sherman was officially seen as a death trap.
But just as the whole Allied advance was getting bogged down in France, one man, one single person, was about to challenge that entire reality. And he wasn't some high-ranking general or a West Point strategist. Nope. He was a staff sergeant from a tiny little town in Texas.
And here he is, Lafayette War Dandy Pool. He does not look like what you'd picture, right? Definitely not a hero from some Hollywood movie. He was a small guy, just 5'8", wore these wire-rimmed glasses. This is a kid who learned to drive a tractor way before he did algebra. And the Army almost stuck him in the Quartermaster Corps, sorting supplies. But don't let the looks fool you, because his mindset was a whole different story. When a recruiter asked him, hey, why do you want to be in a tank? This was his answer. That just tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? It's this core audacity, this belief that you bring the biggest, baddest weapon you can to a fight. And that's exactly what he did. So the big question is, how did he pull it off? What was his secret? Well, Poole didn't just play the game better than everyone else. He threw the whole rule book out. He developed a completely new way to fight that was all about pure, relentless aggression and this incredible, almost gut-level understanding of his enemy.
You can basically boil his method down to 4 principles. And get this, every single one of them went directly against standard Army doctrine. Doctrine said, wait, call for support, and fight from a safe distance. What did Poole do? The exact opposite. He charged, he went hunting. He knew that getting the first accurate shot off was everything.
And this is where you really see his genius. It wasn't just blind aggression, no way. Poole had literally memorized the blueprints of the enemy's tanks. He knew a Panther's turret ring was just a couple inches of flat, unsloped steel, a perfect target. He knew a Tiger's fatal flaw was its rear armor. He took that supposedly inadequate gun on his Sherman and turned it into a scalpel.
And here's a perfect example of his tactics in action. Near a village called Sherpenseal, he spots 3 Panthers, dug in, waiting for an ambush. His orders were to fall back. Instead, he charged, straight at him. He shot first, nailed that turret ring on the first Panther, just like he knew he could. Then he floored it, closing the distance on the other 2 so fast they couldn't get a beat on him. They missed. 3 kills in under 4 minutes. It's just incredible.
Later, his commanding general, Maurice Rose, asked him point blank, Poole, how in the world are you doing this? And this was his answer. It just shows you. His deadliest weapon wasn't the cannon on his tank, it was his mindset. He flat out refused to accept that he was supposed to lose. He didn't care that his tank was supposedly inferior.
And this attitude, this way of fighting, it started to spread like wildfire across the whole Western Front. Suddenly, Poole's after-action reports weren't just being filed away somewhere, they were being studied. They were becoming the new playbook for how to fight a tank war.
And the results were, well, wow. In June, you had that awful 5-to-1 kill ratio against the Sherman. But as more and more crews started using Poole's aggressive hunting tactics, that ratio just plummeted. By February of 1945, it was down to 2-to-1. The whole tide of the war was turning, tank by tank. And you better believe the Germans noticed. Their own intelligence reports started to sound,
well, a lot different. They weren't dismissing the Sherman anymore. Instead, they were writing these worried reports about, and I'm quoting here, unusually aggressive American tank commanders using non-standard tactics. They had no idea what hit them.
So this all brings us to the final, powerful lesson of Lafayette Pool's story. It's a lesson that goes way beyond tank specs and armor thickness. It gets right to the heart of what actually wins wars.
So let's just run down his final verified kill count. And remember, this is in just 81 days of combat. First up, the Panthers, the very machines that were designed to be so superior. He destroyed 12 of them.
Then you've got the Tigers, those 54-ton fortresses that terrified Allied crews all across Europe. He took out 9.
And then there's this, which is it's insane. He destroyed 3 King Tigers, these 70-ton behemoths that American crews were explicitly ordered not to engage. Under any circumstances, he took out 3 of them.
And the grand total? 258. That's not a typo. 258 confirmed armored vehicle kills. That's more than most entire tank companies got in the whole war, and he did it with 1 crew in 1 Sherman in less than 3 months. It's staggering.
So, how did it all end? Well, his incredible 81-day run came to a sudden, violent stop. On September 19, 1944, his 3rd tank, In the Mood, was ambushed and completely destroyed. Pool himself was blown clear from the turret, his legs shattered beyond repair. His war was over. But incredibly, after everything, he survived.
But man, his legacy was already set in stone. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for his incredible bravery. And even though his final tank was lost, his legend just grew. His record as America's greatest tank ace, achieved in that breathtaking 81-day span, has never been broken. It still stands to this day.
And that's what Lafayette Pool's story really shows us. It reveals the fundamental, fatal flaw in the German doctrine. Yeah, their engineers built a superior machine, but they completely forgot the most important variable in the entire equation. Tanks don't fight tanks, people do.
And that's what we're left with, right? The story of Lafayette Pool is just incredible proof that skill, aggression, and an unbreakable will can overcome almost any material disadvantage. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What else becomes possible when the supposedly unbeatable is challenged by someone who simply refuses